Hey there, let me welcome you if this is your first time to my YouTube channel. And on Chad Welch Lifestyle, we talk all things productivity, performance, prosperity, and personal power. And so today I have a really important topic I wanted to really highlight and bring out. And as a high performer, I consider myself a high performer, and most of my clients also consider themselves to be high performers. And when we talk about this word high performance, it's very common to hear this in the personal development arena. A lot of coaches, a lot of consultants, business coaches use the word performance. We also hear the word performance with athletes and health and wellness. And so today I'm going to talk a little bit more from the personal development side and how being a high performer actually shows up for you as a business owner, as a individual, whatever your profession is, and what some of the pitfalls are that go along with being a high performer. So I'm going to go ahead and get right into it today, and I want to talk about perfectionism and how perfectionism actually comes into play automatically when we start to talk about and move into the space of high performance. I've been talking about high performance for years now, and we have one school of thought which is completely relevant to high performance, and that is habits, patterns, beliefs, and paradigms. And so you can think of a paradigm in the terms that we're talking about right now as a multitude of habits that form these conditioned responses. It's like an automatic cycle that impacts your performance because it is setting the tone for how you do things, when you do things, and what your process is. So paradigms can be empowering, or they can be quite limited. So that's one conversation when we're looking at habits, beliefs, and paradigms in terms of our performance. But we also have the way that our nervous system interacts, our emotional body, our feelings, and that can greatly be impacted by this idea of perfectionism, of wanting to be perfect all the time. A lot of times perfectionism comes to light and is created in childhood. We have a tendency in our society to, as children, want to please our parents. We want them to be proud of us. We want them to give us praise. We learn that if we do certain things that we get certain rewards as children. And so a lot of times that can start early on to condition us to this idea and this really way of being a perfectionist. So on one hand, perfectionism can be a great tool because it means that people that are attracted to perfectionism have a high degree of awareness of themselves, their image, and how they're presenting themselves. So that can be quite empowering, and that's a great tool and a powerful lead-in, especially if you're in business or you're a coach or a consultant or in a leadership position. But what happens is when we get so focused on how we're showing up visually, how we're coming across to other people, we start to create stories about how other people are perceiving us, and it can actually activate a mechanism within us that actually starts to slow us down or shut us down even. So perfectionism can be a way forward, and it can also be a way that we become paralyzed into taking action because we start to think that what we're doing or presenting is not good enough, or it needs more time, or we're not ready. These are all ways that we can use as stall tactics, which are really just ways of camouflaging where we have fear. where we're afraid to show up, where we're afraid to let things look a little messy, where we're afraid to be vulnerable. And that can be one of the most difficult things for a high performer, is to allow themselves to be seen when maybe they aren't at their best, or maybe where their perception is that they're not at their best. So the way that this shows up for me, for example, is I noticed a while back that I wasn't really engaging and posting as often as I wanted to on social media. And so I started really feeling into what would happen when I got ready to do a post or a video like this one. And I would get in my head and I would feel this heaviness come over me. And it was almost like I had a story that, well, I'm not really in the creative mood right now, or I haven't felt inspired, or nothing is coming through for me to talk about today. Or I would sit down and try to create just a static post, and it would take me hours, and I would get so frustrated. And I kind of had this belief that I'm blocked, or I'm confused, or there's something not right now, that like I'm in a creative deficit, or I have writer's block, or whatever it is. And what I realized was that was my perfectionism showing up and kind of disguising itself and talking me out of actually showing up and being vulnerable and allowing my post to just be what it is, not having for it to be perfect and look professional and look like it's, I spent hours and hours. In fact, when I identified that that was a tactic, a subconscious pattern, and a result of my perfectionism that was actually holding me back, and I was trying to convince myself that it was just writer's block, or it's just not the right time, or I'll try again tomorrow. So what I started doing was to just identify, this is actually my perfectionistic identity coming through, and it's trying to actually keep me safe from being humiliated, or for having someone see me in an image that maybe wasn't the image that I wanted them to see me in. I think a lot of times as business owners, and if you're in a coaching profession, or you're a consultant, or you're visible, or you're an online personality, or you're a leader, chances are you fall into many of those categories. If you're watching this video, we have this expectation that we put on ourselves to have to always show up in a certain way and have this certain, everything is perfect, and the lighting is perfect, and the background is perfect, and the font is just the right font. And those can all be amazing tools if you're building a brand and keeping a cohesive message and vision. That's amazing. But when that stuff starts to cripple and paralyze you or me or us into taking action, into letting things be a little bit messy, letting things be a little uncertain, letting things be off the cuff, letting things be more natural, then we can kind of really get ourselves caught up in the image of the whole thing. And the perfectionism, which we said earlier can be a positive thing, it can be a great tool, then it starts to become something that actually limits you, limits me. So that's for me today, was what I wanted to bring forward, is that if you are a high performer, which chances are that you are, and you're attracted to performing, if you're attracted to feeling like you want to move forward and expand rapidly, and efficiency and effectiveness are really important to you, which is great. It's amazing that those things are part of your priority system and your value system. But now if you can start to look at where you hold back because you get caught up in a perfectionistic cycle, then you can actually start to feel what that feels like in the body. Pay attention to where in the body you feel that. I always feel a lot of density in my head, behind my eyes. It's like this brain fog rolls in, and it keeps me away from being able to see actually what's in front of me. And my brain will start making stories up about why I'm feeling this way, or I have nothing important to say right now, or no one's listening anyway, I feel like maybe it's better for me to do this tomorrow. Those are all alibis that the subconscious is giving over in order to protect itself in some way from somebody seeing my work and it not being completely perfect in the terms of my definition of what's perfect. Because we all have different definitions, and chances are, especially if you're on social media, people are not paying that much attention to you consistently to know that your video or your social media post was perfect, as opposed to the one you had last week or last month that you thought was perfect. So think about that where do you shut your own voice down? Where do you, and I'm actually going to do a video about gaslighting soon, where we actually gaslight our own selves. We think about gaslighting as other people do that to us, but we actually gaslight ourselves by diminishing what we perceive. We diminish our capacity. We diminish our ability to show up and not have that be some big complicated thing. So, and next time, as a high performer, that you feel yourself moving into that space of, oh, it's not ready yet, people can't see it yet, I don't have anything to say, I don't know, I'm in a creative funk, make sure that you don't have a perfectionistic identity that's flaring up, that's trying to keep you safe, but that's actually really limiting you. All right, I hope that was helpful. Don't forget, if this video was helpful, please like it. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, share this, and leave me a message in the comments and let me know, where is your perfectionistic tendency and where does it show up? All right, talk to you next time. Be well.